Colin's lied to me. Last night he said he's got physiotherapy. He said, you know it's on Mondays. He only had it once, so no. And physiotherapy's in Bath. I know that because I went to physiotherapy myself, you know, and I then remembered this morning, hang on, he gets paid Monday before my payday, right? So I sent him a message saying I'm sick of your lies. I said this to him, right? I said, well, I rang you just after 9 AM and you ignored me, which means you put your phone on silent, which he said he wouldn't. You get paid Monday and Wednesday, so I know you lied and have gone to the arcade because physiotherapy is in Bath, not Kingswood. So if I ring at 12, like you knew I said, your phone shouldn't be on silent. You said you'd pick up. But if you don't, I know you have lied again. I'm sick of your lies, Colin. You make me sick. I know you've been paid. You're a prick. That's what I said to him. Yeah. So if that's the case, I'll ask him for some money then. To be able to buy some more bags of ice cube, a couple more bags of ice cubes. He can lie all he likes, but I remember he got paid. He gets paid because I remember the dates. And you know what? 2 weeks ago from today, let's look at my bank, right? So I'm gonna look at the calendar first, right? 2 weeks ago today would have been the date of 2 weeks, so 30th of June, right? Okay. Let's look at the bank statement then, because he would have paid me on that day. Look, 30th of June. Was it June? He didn't pay me anything that day, but if he had after, which wait one, well, I got paid on the 2nd of July, so paid in. Right, let's click on paid in. So he hasn't paid me nothing. Right, okay, forget that. I've not bothered. I've only called him a couple times earlier, just after 9 night. I gave up because I knew he'd lied. Yeah, but then he got it reinstated. Stupid idiot. No, that's not the case. He should be spending the money on me. It's simple as, you know, for God's sake. God, you're just twisting this even more. But, you know, there's no need for him to lie. And I said I'm going to ring him at 12. He knew that. So if I do and he doesn't pick up, I know for a fact he's at the arcade. Fucking sick of his lies. He's done it 20 years, and he wonders why we separated. Well, nearly 11 years ago. And in my home, he was a volatile bastard, and he didn't like the fact that I was the tenant. You know, it's nice that he helps out with the babies because he helped me bring them up. Do you know what I mean? And he's still helping me bring them up. You know, just because his favourite boy is gone now doesn't mean to say he's got to stop. You know, he's still got 3 other boys and a girl. You know, he was stepdad to Princess and Munchkin, Princess and Skipper, because they were in another relationship with me, right? And then Skipper was only 7, 8 months old. I was trying to wean him off from Princess. You know, and then Munchkin came along and we brought her up. And she's 14 now, you know. And then about a year and a half later, she escaped from the living room. Yeah, gone are the days, you know, he used to take me out for steak dinners. I did like enjoying those moments. But now, he just doesn't give a shit, you know. But I can't just sit here like bored, chatting. He has changed, and Martin has changed as well. Both of them for the worst. There's no point having a friendship for 20 years with both of them, because it's just fake. Yeah, we were close. You know, he didn't like the fact that I put my parents first and moved and separated, and I kicked him out. So he took the piss. There then was loads of complaints, and the fact that he lived above me, Matthew Beamishes, the transvestite, you know, and, you know, so then he got, I had an appointment with someone from Bristol City Council to talk to me about a couple of things like repairs or whatever in my home. And also, last of all, was about Colin. Now, he didn't know this, but when she'd come round, I opened up my windows at the end, just after speaking about this, of that third thing about him, you know, and I opened up my bedroom windows, and he was sat out there, pretending to talk on the phone as soon as he seen me, right? She witnessed that. His phone never rang, and he was sat there with a cup of tea, you know, very close to my bedroom window, and I said, Carl, can you go away, please, yeah? You're doing this on purpose to wind me up. He was like, no, I don't fucking have to, da-da-da-da. She was stood there, not at the window, so he didn't know she was there. She heard how he spoke to me, and I said, Colin, you've only moved above, yeah, to take the piss because I kicked you out. You know, enough is enough now. You need to just go and live elsewhere. Stop living at someone else's here to take the piss out of me. He was like, no, I don't have to. I said, well, we'll see about that then. And I said, so I closed, what was it? Then I left the windows open, I spoke very quietly in another room. Then I went back to the bedroom, I said, you know, let's just see for 5 minutes how he is. And he was talking about me on the phone, pretending, you know, saying all sorts of shit about me. I said, this is how he talks about me. He's trying to wind me up and antagonise me. And so, you know, basically anyway, yeah, because I closed the windows, went away, opened up the windows, you know, and she heard. And then, so she then made her mind up. She said, okay, well, we're gonna have to go away, do a letter, blah, blah, blah. And I said, what do you mean by do a letter? I'll ring you when we've done it. And I said, okay, this is just stressing me out even more now. And so she rang me when she'd done it. And then she told me that we're sending a letter out to Matthew Beamish's property, number 70. I lived at 72. And he's going to have a revoked licence of living at 1772 and banned from the whole grounds. Right? I said, hey, I might as well tell him now then. Because he's going to kick right off as soon as that letter comes, and I'm not going to put up with this for another day. So I told him. Right? Next minute he started kicking off, you know, fucking being verbally abusive, really nasty to me. And next minute I said, you're going to have to come out. He's really starting. He's shouting his mouth off. He's fucking, you know, being really abusive to me outside. I can't put up with it anymore. I can hear him even when my window's closed. So they came out. That woman came back out with 4 officers and a PCS, and basically he was carted out arm in arm, you know, and he was shouting his mouth off, you know. Yeah, and he blamed me and my mum for the reports. No, it's because nobody liked him right there. They knew about his past, right? So that was the way of getting rid of him. And then I proceeded in taking my mum up on the offer of moving for a better life, so he didn't cause shit. That's why I moved so far away. But yeah, you don't know a lot, trust me, of what I've had to put up with. Cole and Martin slapped me off all the time anyway. He's a dangerous fucker. He's physically hurt me loads of different ways. He got arrested on one of the occasions. I had a massive lump on my arm. Right? He decided to slam on my door, and I'm a tenant mind in front of me, so I was kicking the door, and I could see the bottom of the door going in every time I kicked it. And I said, if you don't open this fucking door, I'm going to kick the fucking door in a minute. He could see it was moving. I said, open this fucking door now. Well, I'm calling the police. So he opened it. He started getting all aggressive, coming at me. I went, oh, fuck off. Get the fuck away from my door right now. Or I'm calling the fucking police. So I was then near enough at my gate at the end of the yard, yeah? My front yard. And he picked up this, it was like about that size. About that. This, like, arm length. And he stood up next to the gas box and he picked it up, launched it at me. I put my arms up like that. He fractured my arm and I come up with a massive lump. I literally had to, I said, right, I'm calling the fucking police. He just assaulted me. And so he decided I was fuck off. I got my keys quickly, shut the door and fired him. I was on the phone to the police. The whole way. He went all the way up to Stop Good Shops. By the time he got to the top of the hill, the police were there. Right? 2 women. I said, he's that side of the bush. One came this side, one came the other. Yeah, I got him. And then, do you know what? The manipulated little cunt said, oh, no press charges, I'll be home later. So I didn't. So he got away with that. Still, it's on his record that he's a violent fuck. He is dangerous. You know, when I grabbed his bag and said, oh, don't leave, I was getting all upset because of over some stupid argument. I grabbed his bag. I had my head, I was holding it in front of me, kneeling, you know, on the bed, and it was a wooden bed, mind. And he pulled me back, scraped my spine on the fucking wooden bit, and pulled me to the ground and punched me for me to let go. So he winded me loads of times. He's hurt me, and the time when he punched me in the hallway, he didn't expect this, but I'm not a left-handed person, and I was drinking constantly, you know, from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep. But my God, he expected me to go down on the ground. No, I just went like that, and I was shaking, and I went, ugh! And I looked at him like wide-eyed, angry as fuck. I grabbed him with my left hand, and I'm right-handed, and I lifted him up at 24 stone against my hallway door, not door, a wall next to the door, right? And he looked down, apparently, he told me this later on, and he could see his legs dangling. And I was repeatedly punching him in the face. Yeah. And then another time, where the living room door is, but in the living room, there was a red reclining chair. He cornered me between the door and the chair and was kicking my ass. Literally, kicking me. Didn't give a fuck about me. In my own home. And he wondered why I battered him with an iron bar. Yeah. And I never got arrested for it. He was black and blue. Another time, in the living room, there was nothing against the radiator. It was actually on this side, and the living room door was there. So, and the kitchen was the bedroom, but the room out there where my bedroom is would have been the kitchen, right? And the bathroom door would have been my front door, not there. So anyway, it was a different layout, but this wall, like this, had a radiator, right? He fucking strangled me, this had a radiator, right? He fucking strangled me, smacked my head against the radiator, brought me down to the ground, and bit my ear. He claimed he blacked out, bullshit, right? He did that in rage, right? Because of his temper. So then he let go all of a sudden. I said, okay, two can play that game, bitch. I got two different knives. I said, which one would you like to choose, bitch? This one, which one? Hey, hey! And I cut him right here, right by his eye. And I was like, look what you're fucking doing now, put blood on my fucking carpet. So I went and got fucking some tissue and I said, just hold it there. And I said, you shouldn't have fucking strangled me. And smacked my head. Yeah, do you know what? There was a few times where I wouldn't put up with shit. There's so many occasions I can tell you. He went and sat down, the bed that I'd had for many years, the fat fuck. He sat down on the end of the bed and he broke the bed. I said, now what are we fucking gonna do? What are we gonna sleep on now, you stupid fat fuck? He was like, it wasn't my fault. Yeah, it is your fucking fault, because you're fat and you sat on it too hard. Oh, there's so many occasions I could tell you in 9 years of living with him. At other occasion, when my mother was at the gate, he came, the gate was closed, and he lunged at my mother, brushed her chin. So she then decided, right, so I opened up the gate, I said, get the fuck out of my way, you cunt. I was angry, I was furious. Like, proper, it started getting violent at that point. I said, go mum, get to your car now. So she did quickly, shut the doors, locked them, put her beams on, and was beep constantly to get attention. And Colin, right, I was in front of him at that point then. I said, come any closer, watch what happens. There was this massive full bin, and I mean it was heavy, but in anger and in rage, I pulled over to stop him, and it did stop him getting any closer to my mum's car. That's why my mum don't like him, and because of his past. Yeah, it's 5 past now. I'm rolling fag and I'll try and ring him, and I bet he's lied. If it rings and rings, that means it's on silent. You know, he's already done this shit before by saying about counselling. He pays for counselling when he was having different other counselling, yeah? So he's having 2 different counsellors before, but this other counselling that he claimed that he was paying for £20 every time, right? And he said he had to get money out so he could get a cup of tea there, right? Bullshit. Money for the arcade it was. Me and Martin caught him out on that, yeah? So, now he's trying another tactic to lie, saying he's got physiotherapy. I had to be on a waiting list for physiotherapy, and that was in Bath, not in Kingswood, okay? So, what if it's on silent? Call Martin. I can't call Martin because Colin's just turning him against me. Well, Rachel's turning Martin against me and Colin, basically. Yeah, he's lied. See?
Can't take your call right now. Just leave a message.
You agreed last night. No, I know you're at the arcade because physiotherapy is not in Kingswood, it's in Bath. Okay, I know that because I had to be on a waiting list, and I went to physiotherapy because of my fibromyalgia. So you don't just get physiotherapy, you know, for any old fucking thing, Colin. All right, especially for arthritis, you don't get it for that. Okay, so I know you've lied, and you know, although you're trying a new tactic here, and I'm going to tell you this straight up, you lied about having these. There was 2 different counselling sessions. The counselling session with someone else, and then you was paying £20. You claimed with this counselling thing in Kingswood. Had to get money out to buy a cup of tea. No, the money you got out was for the arcade, and then me and Martin caught you out, and then you had to stop the lie and say that you cancelled the counselling. Yeah, right. So all the stuff you made out was bullshit. What you told me after so-called these sessions. So now you're trying another tactic. Now you're trying physiotherapy. And no, you only had it once, you claimed, recently. Yeah? So, you said last night, you know it's on Mondays. No, I don't know. Because you don't get it in Kingswood. And, you know, you don't get it that often either. So I know you've lied again. You'll get that voicemail.